Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki alongside my broadcast partner, former University of Miami team captain and center Don Bailey Jr. University of Miami coming off another tough one, Don, second straight loss, another game that was decided in the final minute.
It was, Joe, but there was a lot of energy in the ball game, and I go back to what Miami did defensively. They shut out North Carolina in the second half. Miami came out offensively in the second half and put up some points. It was competitive, but I really appreciate that goal line stand. That's something that I'm going to talk about for years to come. What was accomplished there, I think, will be something that will be built on in this program, and they will reflect to as time goes by.
It was a 20-13 loss to North Carolina. Let's take a look at the highlights, brought to you by UL Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
For Kaya on fourth down, has a receiver. It's caught. Njoku, the tight end. That was a money throw that time by Kaya.
Snap comes back to Vogel. This one is on the way toward the uprights in the west end zone, and it is good.
Quick throw. Switzer picked up and body slam. He did hang on to the ball, but Elder dropped him for a loss.
Oh my, Spitzer, and he is hammered by Elder back at the 42-yard line, a loss of 3.
Kaya on 2nd and 10 over the middle, it's pulled in. Njoku's on the loose at the 30, stiff arming past the 40, pushed out at the 43-yard line.
Snap comes back, the kick is blocked!
Get on it!
Miami blocked it! Hurricane blocked the kick and they get a big save! A big stop for Miami. Trubisky being chased.
There you go.
And a drop. Elder brings him down for a 13-yard loss. In trouble, throws on the run, and Amon Richards, he's got it.
Back to the air, stepping up. Everybody covered. Kaya spins out of there. Now throws. He's got Herndon inside the 10.
Is it the Yerby? Marshall's left.
Yes.
Joe Yerby dives into the end zone. Orange in the end zone. Touchdown, Miami. It was hard fought, but Carolina wins it. Tar Heels 20, Miami 13. That's your final score.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive Group. Joe Zagacki alongside Don Bailey Jr. and pleased to be joined now by University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. As we mentioned, the Canes coming off a tough one against North Carolina. And Coach, what did the autopsy report look like?
Well, oh goodness, a lot of things. The things that went well, just the effort of the entire team was good. The physical play was good. We blocked a kick. Our punter averaged about a 4.8 hang time and 48 yards, which is phenomenal. Had some great effort on some coverage on punts, you know, to keep Switzer from, I think he had 0 yards returning. We had every kick out of the end zone, which was great. Had a goal line stand, which was tremendous on the 1-yard line. And you know, so you know, a lot of good things happened. You know, had a couple drives offensively, we moved the ball well. You know, got one in the end zone finally, but you know, had a couple other times when, you know, you'd like to get more than 3 out of the thing, but sometimes you got to get 3, and we're able to do that. You know, negative in the kicking game, obviously another kick got blocked. So, you know, some definitely penetration in the same spot, which, you know, people you know, a lot of people gang up on that spot, period, because it's the block point. You know, no one wants to block a miss, so they're gonna get in a position to, you know, block a kick that is kicked straight, and you know, so that was an issue. The opening kickoff obviously should not have fielded that kick. Trying to think of whatever else. You know, of course, at the end of the game, we're, you know, here I guess here's one thing that, you know, I also thought was really positive. We're down 20-3 at half, and obviously that game could have gone either way at that point. Could have gone downhill fast, but you know, I thought the guys did a really good job in the locker room at halftime of you know showing emotion, but also knowing that you know momentum can change. And defense, you know, pitches a shutout in the second half. Offense, you know, started getting things going and got 10 points on the board. It wasn't enough, you know, to finish the game and win it. But, you know, we did change the momentum of the game. We started to move it back in our direction, and you know, just didn't make enough plays to finish it, so to speak. But, you know, it was a good sign of here's adversity. How are we going to react to it? And I thought in the second half, I mean, obviously we won the second half 10-0, but it still wasn't enough.
Coach, go back to the defense and that goal line stand and how you can build on that, but really the energy that something like that produces. And to be honest, that hadn't happened around here in a long time, something like that. That was a pretty special event.
Well, it's hard to, even if it's 3rd or 4th and 1.
Correct.
It's hard to stop them, you know. And on the other hand, I mean, it's hard to get into. I mean, I've been on the offensive side of the ball, and you know, everybody's there at that point, and if you just want to try to hammer it in there, think, gosh, I could get that much. It's not that hard, but it is. It's a battle line was drawn, and obviously our big men inside, along with our linebackers, you know, capping things off, topping things off. Just we're not going to get knocked back. They did not get knocked back, and so you know they try to sneak it in, and they tried a couple different things, but. Long story short, you know, we held the line, and there really wasn't much question about it. So it was a great job by the defense getting the stop, and then of course we come out of there and create some space offensively, change the field position, get the ball back after another stop, and that's when we scored again to make it within one score, you know, which changes the entire game.
Coach, you mentioned the way the guys responded at halftime. And I'm thinking you're 6 games into this with this team. That's not a lot.
No.
Are you still finding out a lot about your team, your players, their character, what they can do, what they can't do, either as individuals or as a collective unit?
Well, it's both. I mean, you'll see guys individually do things that are outstanding that you're like, that's what we want, you know. And then, you know, every Sunday when we meet with the players on a normal week, we'll show those great things that happen. Great effort plays, great physical plays, great execution plays, you know, whatever it may be. And just, you know, point to that and say, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. That's how you win. That's how you win close games and win championships, you know. So then, but then you also have the dynamic of the team and, you know, how we're going to react when this happens, how we're going to react when that happens. And I thought we reacted very well. Certainly, you don't want to get behind like that, but when you are, how do you respond? We responded in a very positive way. Not enough to again overcome the deficit, but we certainly stopped the momentum and turned it back in our direction, and we were you know playing in such a way that we gave ourselves a chance.
Coach, how are you going to manage the depth at this time of the year? And I mean, it's just becoming more and more of a challenge. The second half of the game.
Pray.
Yeah. Okay.
Pray and hope that guys recover quickly, and then hope that the guys that have to be thrown in the fire are ready to go battle and go compete. I mean, you know, we knew that we're not super deep in a lot of areas. I mean, when you start 3 true freshman linebackers from the very beginning, you're not very deep at that position. And, you know, so that's true of a lot of positions across the board. I mean, we are truly paper thin in some spots right now. We're probably past paper thin in 1 or 2 spots right now. But, you know, that's where opportunity arises for other people, for younger guys, or for maybe a guy that's not used to playing that position, and now he's got to go move to another spot to help the team win, you know. And that's the beauty of football and the beauty of teamwork. You're sacrificing for the betterment of the group, and there's a lot of honor in that.
All right, we will continue with University of Miami head coach Mark Richt right after this. And welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. and University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. And this week, early, is Miami and Virginia Tech from Lane Stadium, 7 o'clock kickoff on Thursday. You didn't have to deal with too many Thursday games at Georgia, right?
As a assistant coach, been through it, but never as a head coach. So, but I think we're managing it well. We had different options. Coaches from different schools doing it different ways, and I think we landed on a schedule that made sense, the most sense for us right now anyway.
Virginia Tech also has a new coach, same defensive coordinator, but they want to have their same identity, the lunch pail identity. What have you seen in their games?
Oh yeah, they bring their lunch pail for sure. They get after it, no doubt, on defense. Always have under Bud. You know, that's just the way they've played. It's not. I mean, the defense itself is different than most that you play. Their coverage concepts are different than most that you would play. So you can't just run your normal plays that are good versus certain looks. The basic, 3 deep, 2 deep, quarters coverage, man free, stuff like that. They've got a couple little things that are just different than everybody else. So you can't sit there and say, well, we'll just run our basic stuff against it, because you probably are going to have a long day. So you have to have a couple new concepts to try to handle that. And then it always is going to come down to, how well can you run the ball, how well can you protect the quarterback, and then from there, can you hit your target, can you throw it to the right guy, can you catch it when it gets there. We had, unfortunately, we had 5 drop balls at least in the game, and 3 of them, quite frankly, were in a downpour. It's tough to catch the ball when it's like a watermelon seed. But the one thing that I was impressed with Kai was how well he did throw the wet ball, and when it did start coming down pretty hard. So you got to catch it on the other end as well. So again, it's a matter of executing the things that you call. It's not so much the plays; it's just the execution of them. But as coaches, we got to make sure that they can execute the things that we call.
When you take the team on the road like this, fortunately, you were already been to Georgia Tech and App State. This one's even a little bit louder, probably both of those combined. Mm-hmm. And the young guys, again, they're just going to have to adapt to really not being able to hear anything on both sides of the football.
Yeah, it'll be super loud. We know that. It'll be, I think a lot of Thursday night crowds are just a little bit louder. So I don't think there'll be any doubt about that. But we do have some, a good many of our players that were there 2 years ago, and it was a Thursday night as well, from what I understand, and pretty loud that night too. So, a lot of the guys have handled it before, have been through it. Brad certainly, as a quarterback, has been through it before, and that helps a lot.
They have a new offense this year, but not new to college football. It's the spread look at a quarterback is about 230 pounds, junior college player 6'4", 230, Jared Evans. What are your thoughts on that side of the ball? QB run. When you have a guy like that, big, physical, can run, it just adds another dynamic to the game. And when a guy can move around, move the pocket around, and also actually be a runner by design, be a runner if things break down, that helps a lot. But he throws the ball very well. They do have really some fine receivers and backs, and they get after you. I mean, it's going to be quite a challenge for our defense
to play these guys. And there are some similarities from what happened this past week at North Carolina and what we're going to see at Virginia Tech offensively. But there's enough, new twists that we just got to really do a good job of keeping it simple and try not to confuse them, because like you said, a short week, it's hard to put a whole lot of new things in.
Speaking of the physical side of it, your defense has been very physical. Imagine it's taking a toll on both the opponent and obviously on your team, but when the opposition looks at that physicality, that's got to be a little bit of a warning sign.
Well, a lot of people are playing physical. A lot of teams play physical, but I think when people look at our tape, they know that we're going to strike you, and that's the way football should be. That's the way defense should be played, and so I don't know if teams are looking at the tape and getting scared to death, but I think they respect what they see.
All right, Coach, thank you very much and the best of luck, and we'll continue on the Mark Richt Show right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Mark Richt Show, presented by Williamson Automotive. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. Thanks to University of Miami head coach Mark Richt. Now, coming up on Thursday night at 7 o'clock from Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia, Miami and Virginia Tech. And this is going to be an old-fashioned, hard-hitting game. Hokies have a new coach and a new offense, but they still play the same old-style defense.
Well, I will tell you, Joe, the offenses may not look the same as the good old days, but the football on the field will be. I mean, as you mentioned, there'll be a lot of hard-hitting. The fans will be actively involved. Everybody's going to be breathing down on your Miami Hurricanes. It's a tough, tough environment, but it's one of the best in college football, and I expect this University of Miami football team to thrive off of it.
Hurricanes are banged up defensively, but against this Hokie spread offense, Jared Evans is the quarterback. Miami's got to stop the run, number one.
They do, Joe, and I'm concerned. I mean, the amount of players that have been lost over the last couple of weeks and how it affects the depth and the special teams. You can only tape it up for so often, but Miami's going to have to get through this. They have to understand that they'll get an extra day or two after the Virginia Tech game, but you got to get through it, and it's going to take every man on deck.
On the other side of the ball, Virginia Tech is going to give Brad Kaya a lot of pressure. He's going to have to make some big plays from the pocket, and the offensive line is going to have to help him out.
Oh, they're going to have their best game. The offensive line is going to have their best game, and Brad Kaya is going to have to be very quick in the decision-making process. If you flinch for 1 second, you're going to get sacked against Bud Foster.
In this game, offensively, to win, you need touchdowns off of big plays. You can't settle for field goals. You got to get big plays for touchdowns.
No, and I think that's the key, is that's going to present itself, and it has historically on a Bud Foster defense. He's the guy that's going to give the high risk and reward type of defense up front and the secondary. So when that opportunity presents itself, you've got to be able to go over the top. Now, that means the receivers at the same time have to be focused in and run those routes and make sure they are available and catch the football.
All right, well, get your turkey leg and be ready for the turkey calls.
Well, I'm going to get that turkey leg. It's a tradition.
Special teams also always a factor when you play Virginia Tech. Miami and the Hokies on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. For Don Bailey Jr. and head coach Mark Richt, I'm Joe Zagacki. We'll see you next time right here on the Mark Richt Show.